The filmmaker set this up as something new and something fresh and something original, and I think that's gonna be true, but it's not true with this chapter 1. I'm reviewing The Strangers, chapter 1. The Strangers Chapter 1 is a new horror home invasion film from Lionsgate, which is part of the Strangers film franchise, and it is the first in a trilogy of 3 films that are actually a standalone. Even though it was said that it was going to be a prequel, I mean, I think they're still saying it's kind of a prequel. So did you get that? The Strangers Chapter 1 is in theaters right now. It is directed by Rennie Harlin. It stars Madeline Petch, Froy Gutierrez, and Gabriel Basso. It is said that this is a prequel to the 2008 The Strangers, which stars Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman. I will say that I don't know if that's the case. This film feels more like a reboot, for sure, with apparently 2 additional films attached to it, since we're gonna get a second and a third chapter. This is the part where I normally say I'm gonna keep this as spoiler-free as possible, so I won't ruin the movie for you if you choose to see it. This one is so hard to not spoil. I don't know how to keep from being as spoiler-free as possible, because this film very, 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 very closely follows The Strangers from 2008. This is pretty much the same thing. The Strangers Chapter 1 is about a couple, Maya and Ryan. Maya is headed to Portland, Oregon for a job interview. Ryan is, of course, the dutiful boyfriend and driving her there. While on their way, their car breaks down in Venus, Oregon, and they are forced to stay at a local Airbnb where, of course, they are terrorized by 3 masked strangers. If you're familiar with The Strangers from 2008, the 3 masked strangers are Dollface, Pinup Girl, and the Man in the Mask. And these are the same characters returning in the same or very similar masks. If you know anything about The Strangers, it was inspired by the Manson home invasion of the Tate family, and also the creator had home invasions happening in his neighborhood where they would come to the door, and if you would answer, you were okay. If you didn't, they would break into the home. So it's kind of an inspiration of both of those. And if you're familiar with Manson, basically what they did really didn't make any sense. It was just because they could, really. That's pretty much the same way the violence plays out in The Strangers. It seems nonsensical, and up to this point it really has been nonsensical. Just other than because we can, because you're home, because you're here, whatever the case may be. Some of the things that I really liked about the film are the cinematography. Wow, the cinematography is beautiful. I love some of the shots. Even going through the trailer, when I was looking at it, I was like, man, that's a beautiful shot. That's a beautiful shot. That's a beautiful shot. They did really have a good location, a good set design that really married well with the cinematography. The lighting, beautiful. They did a lot of the CTV blue where it's like moonlight. They had an amazing fog machine, and you know how I love my fog machines. I will say, as far as the film setting that sort of tone, it did that just right. Also the acting. I love Madeline, and Froy did an amazing job as well. If you don't know, Madeline was in Teen Wolf. And I really liked Teen Wolf. Judge me, you can judge me. I don't care. I loved Teen Wolf, and I thought she as the Banshee was fabulous in that. So I think that both of the actors really did a great job and actually carried the movie, if I'm being honest. Like, they really carried the film. If you're looking for a gory film, this is not it. There really isn't a lot of gore or violence. It's definitely psychological, which some of you may not like that. But that's not really what The Strangers is about. It's about the tension and about these people coming in and terrorizing this couple or this family, whichever the case may be. I feel like this film really did deliver exactly what I thought it was going to deliver. So here we go. This film is a slasher film, a typical, very normal slasher film. And when I say that, I say all the things that comes with the slasher films. Major cliches, characters doing some of the dumbest, craziest things you've ever seen, characters being stunned with fear, I guess, to not be able to do anything, poor choices. Like the commercial that they have about horror movies, and they're like, yeah, I know, we can go hide in the crazy horror shed, and it's got all these weapons and stuff hanging down. Like, that is practically what happens in this film. I have to admit that there are many points where I was extremely frustrated with the characters and their choices. One point I just really got annoyed. It's like, pull the trigger. Pull the trigger. That's what you're gonna get. And if you expect that, you should be walking out of the theater with a smile on your face. Isn't that what we all want? Yeah. If you're looking for something new and something different from The Strangers, then this is definitely not the film for you. This chapter 1 does not have anything original or fresh about it. That's just a fact. That is a fact. It has got to be in the later chapters where that fresh original take comes, because it's not here. This is definitely more for the fans of The Strangers and people who are interested in seeing a The Strangers reboot or refresh. My biggest hope with this film is that this is only a jumping off point for where we're going to get to in chapter 2 and chapter 3. Because honestly, I didn't really have a big desire to see a Strangers remake. Didn't mind it, didn't love it, because I didn't need it, but seeing the second and third, if it goes off into a new direction, will be very exciting to me. Obviously, I'm going to go ahead and follow it through the end because, it's a horror movie, I'm gonna watch it. As I said, the filmmakers said that this was a prequel, and I can definitely see some of that. They use the same mask, they have the same missionary boys, except they're younger. They use the same Ford truck as they did in the original film, so there's definitely some similarities, and literally the way the movie plays out is very similar. Although we have more modern day technology in this one, or we just didn't show it in the older one. At the end of The Strangers, 2008, when they're in the truck and they're leaving, one girl says to the other girl, "Don't worry, it gets easier." So that would lead you to believe that that particular person has not done it before. So that couldn't explain the prequel here, unless the faces remain the same, but the characters may have changed, if you know what I mean. They could take it the cult way, right? And then Madeline's character could become the new Dollface. I think it's Dollface, which would be really awesome, and then lead up to the first film, like as they're going to get, Liv Tyler and Scott Speedman. That would be awesome, and I would really be down for that. How they're gonna talk her into this, I don't know. I don't know. Somehow, maybe. It could probably go off in a totally different direction. It could go multiple ways, but for them to have 2 more films to fill, there's gotta be some stuff happening. I hope that we will actually get some insight into what and why this is happening. I think that would be very interesting. I would definitely like to know more about that, because honestly, I just don't really love the fact that there's no real understanding of the situation. I think the filmmakers knew or know where they wanted to go with these films, but that really isn't where they wanted to go until you get to the second and third films. And I feel like they just rebooted the first film so that we could get used to the characters and, get back in the feel of things to set us up for the second and third film. That's what I'm hoping. The trailer gives so much away. So much so that there were points in the film when I was like, oh, I know what's gonna happen. Oh, I know it's gonna happen here. Oh, I know it's gonna happen there. If you actually analyze the shots of the trailer, you pretty much see everything. If you have watched The Strangers from 2008 and you have seen this trailer, then you know exactly what's gonna happen in this film, except for the end. So I'm just gonna tell you straight up, if you liked The Strangers from 2008, I think you will really like this film. Essentially a remake or a reboot of the original Strangers. There are some changes, but it definitely follows the same formula and format, and we get a similar ending. So if you're interested in seeing that redone with, you know, some fresh eyes, but not really a fresh take, then you're gonna really enjoy this film. What I'm hoping is that the next two films are for someone like me who wants to expand this franchise and expand the story and know more and understand more about what is happening here. I think that will be very interesting if they choose to take that route. All three chapters were filmed at the same time, so the second and third films will be coming out this year as well. Do you enjoy home invasion films? Did you enjoy The Strangers from 2008? And do you plan on seeing The Strangers Chapter 1? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, I really do hope that you have the most amazing day, my spooky darlings. I would like to say a big, huge thank you to my Patreon members. You are the most wonderful spooky darlings, and I thank you dearly. Chris Mizictino, Jimmy Horror, Eddie, Janie McLaren, Jose Reyes, Phil Smith, Jim Kemmerling, Mickey B, and I'm sorry about that, and thank you for being so cool about that, and Deal Demon. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you helping me and supporting the channel. If I think someone is coming in to break into my home and they're acting weird and we're in a creepy small town, I'm not gonna go take a shower. I am going to put on my shoes, put my hair up, and get ready for a fight. But maybe that's just because I'm crazy. Yeah, maybe that's a me thing.